And now I'm going to go to the second session called Practice with a Purpose. And I think this is critical for all of us, of course, because I think a lot of times, especially in football, you know, we go out to practice and we have our skelly periods and our goal line periods because that's what you're supposed to do, but it's not with a purpose in mind. We're doing it because we're supposed to do it every day. And all we're trying to emphasize here is to practice with a purpose, with a purposeful meaning. Okay? So the first thing when we start practicing, we think practice sets game tempo. Now, let me explain that to you. You want to get a goal line scrimmage going today, and you're really upset with your goal line offense or defense, and you've made the decision to go ones against ones on that goal line. You see, that sets a tempo, doesn't it? I want the 1-0 and the 1 defense. Those kids know automatically right now, oh, baby, hang on. Something's happening. He's not pleased with us. Or let's go to Skelly 7-on-7. And again, even in the high school situation, and say your 2 best receivers are your 2 widest guys, and you want to take your 2 best defensive backs and put them on, and you say, okay, Bob and John, you get on Pete and Alan, and we'll work on the 2 and the 4 route. It's good against good. Practice can set the tempo. But now you want to go to a teaching mode. You want to work with that running back in the flat or that swing route we talked about. This is a teaching mode. So now you get your other back to play that wolf back or that outside backer, and you have your quarterback read him, and you just work on throwing the ball to him so he learns how to catch it. He learns the proper course. When you want to speed it up, you get the best defensive linebacker you can, and you work against him. So we're just trying to say here, practice with a purpose. Don't just go out to practice because you got to do it from 3 to 5 or from 4 to 7 or whatever you do. Put something into it. And I'm going back to you as a position coach setting your goals. Second thing, look at that. Be professional and totally organized. You remember our 6 traits, our 6 success traits, organization, where that was in there? And this comes right back to the practice. You want to win the kids' confidence? You can't go out there scratching your butt and say, I think we're going to do this tackling drill right now. Wait a minute, let's try this. You can't do that. I mean, you're going to lose them. You have to have everything orchestrated. If it's a 10-minute combo period or a half-hour skelly period, then you do it, and when that whistle blows, you get your next one. But you've got to know where you're going. You've got to practice with a purpose and be totally organized to win those kids over. That's all I'm trying to say. And gang, it doesn't, you might teach a 2 route completely opposite of what we believe, but if those kids believe in you and the way you're doing it, you got a chance to be successful. Third thing. Can you see it? God, be persistent. That's what that said. I know you're having trouble reading that. Now, persistent is this. If you are working on your run game and the aiming point for the fullback on the stretch play is the outside leg of the tackle, then you have the obligation to make sure he stretches that way every time. If his step is a 6-inch step with a crossover and then accept the ball, then you want to make sure that you're persistent with him, that he does it right. And you keep doing it until he does it right. We are a great rep offense, guys. We have 5 running plays. 5 running plays. And we, as I show you our practice plan, we will rep them. And we'll make sure those kids have a good understanding of what we want done. Fourth thing, improve with each practice. I'm going back a little bit to the first things we talked about goals. And all I'm saying here is, again, let's say you're a defensive back coach and you're really having trouble in your man coverage. Then create a situation today in practice that your guys can have some success in man coverage. Here's the way we do it. Secondary this year for us was in terms of athletes, was one of the worst that we've had. In terms of playing, they were one of the best because they learned. What we did to help them early in the year is we'd go 7-on-7 in a skelly period. We'd take the first 10 minutes, and we would not put our ones up. We might have our best receiver, the F, over here, but we're not going to throw it his side. We're going to this side on purpose because we know those defensive guys can guard these guys a little bit better, feel a little bit more comfortable, give them some confidence. We did that the first 2 weeks of practice and gave them some confidence how to play the 2 route, the corner. So we set up situations that the coach could go in his chalk meeting and say, God damn, you took that 2 route away today, great. And as they got better, we were able to add the good receivers, or vice versa, whatever you want to do. Goal line, that's the great one. offense, our offense was just horrible at the beginning of the year in goal line. Just horrible. And we were on them just like, you guys got to do. Finally, we decided, hey, we just got to give them some success. So when we went goal line for 1 week, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday goal line, Thursday's not in pads, but a Tuesday, Wednesday, we went 15 minutes of goal line 2 days in a row against a second, third unit defense. Now, all of the defense was there. And you know, when you're practicing, kids and you're on them and they're moving, they aren't worried about who they're playing against right now. They're trying to please you. But it gave the kids some success because they scored, they executed very well. So all of that's saying is that somewhere along the line, we've got to have those kids feel good about themselves because you've been on their butt because they haven't been doing it right, which I think there's that kind of motivation also. But this helps them to go home and feel, hey, I can do it. I did a much better job. Fifth thing, be accountable and positive. And again, what I want to say to you is this is the same thing I say to the coaches. I want them accountable for what they're doing on and off that field with those players. Did you meet with your players and set the goals? Did you take the time to do it? If you're having trouble with a player, I want to know, Coach Dunn, did you sit down for 10 minutes with that kid, a little bit extra, and sit down and talk and let them know you're human, that you want them to be successful? I mean, off the field. And then on the field, did you give him a chance to be successful? You've been on his butt awful heavy. You know he's got to play for you. Did we give him a chance to be successful? So we're asking the coaches to be accountable and not go on the TV and not go on the radio and say, boy, we just couldn't execute the offense. We were terrible. We couldn't do this. Well, we were terrible because we didn't do a good job of coaching them. And even though that defense is a great defense, there's a way to do it. There's a way to move the ball. So what I'm saying to you is be accountable for what you're trying to do in practice. And the key to the whole thing is to practice with a purpose. Don't just go out and throw 7-on-7 because you have to do it. It's something you're supposed to do every day. Do it for a reason and do it for a purpose. The last thing, be competitive. As I said earlier, I think when your kids come to practice, my personal opinion, when your kids come out to practice, they're all willing to compete. But it doesn't mean they're a competitor. A competitor is a one, and you've all seen them, that's going to go a little bit more for you, a little bit harder. And that's what we're trying to drive them. When they decide to play football or come out to practice, they're automatically competing. That takes no talent. We want competitors. That's what we're trying to do. So if we can develop them in a competitive situation, develop their attitude to compete at a higher level with more intensity, we've got a chance. That always goes back to the first thing there of practicing with a purpose and you setting up drills and designing drills that will be most beneficial for you. Again, whether it be offense or defense, whether it be a tackling drill. Okay? Those things are what I think are important. Okay? When we put this, we will post this on the board for the kids. They'll have this. They'll be on the board all during two-a-day practices. We firmly believe in it. Now, remember I told you that everything we do is a time thing and so on and so forth. And what happened a long time ago at Nevada is we started doing conditioning, and you know, we would run the hundreds and stride and all this stuff, and it just wasn't meaningful to me. I mean, if you're going to run, run with a purpose. Is it cardiovascular, is it sprints, or whatever it is? I didn't like it. We were in good condition, I just didn't like it. So we came up with a system that we start in fall, and it goes all through winter conditioning, it goes through their summer workouts and everything. And some of you are going to look at this and say, well, that's not too hard. It's not if you're in shape. Let me block out this stuff. All right, now what we wanted to do, now what I'm trying to do is say this is an all-year program, so in fall, you don't come out with one set of running opportunities, and spring another one, in summer. We want you to work on these drills and things all year long. Because remember the 6 traits of success? Organizations, persistence, consistency, us knowing what we want to do. Well, these 6 drills are what we call the Nevada Quick 6 Circuit. Yes?
Back to the 160-40, you said 100 you go 8 to 12.
8 to 12.
Is that the same for all those?
Yeah, all of them are, excuse me, I'm sorry, yeah. All of those will do the same. Now again, once we get into the 7th game of the year, we'll drop down what we want to do and do a lot more individual conditioning. Okay? But the kids know in 2 days that's what they're going to run. Now, this is what we call the Quick 6 Circuit. These exercises, there's 6 stations, And if you look up there, you'll see really there's more than 6 drills because we want to change them up. But those drills right there, should be 10 of them. Oh, there's 11. Those 10 to 11 drills are the drills that we will do all year long at some time in our football practice. Practice with a purpose, work with a purpose, test with a purpose, get them back in summer with a purpose. Those drills they'll know and they'll do them. Now, the coach, the individual coach, the linebacker coach, the DB coach, the quarter, they've got their own specific drills too now. This is the Nevada Quick Six circuit that all the team will do. So, here we go. It's Monday afternoon. It's the third game of the year. We've run hundreds every Monday up until this point. Now we're not in great shape. So right after we get done with flex, we go into the Nevada Quick Six. 6 stations. Okay? The ropes are the high step ropes. Okay? I'll explain them real quickly to you. I want to get to the offense here, but are the high step seat rolls are self-explanatory. Okay? What we want to do, we're trying to get up and down in the quickest period. Now, in place of seat rolls, you can go crab roll, crab, which is a crab. It'll direct you one way, roll, crab again. Okay? The hat dance is you have a person sitting down with his legs extended, and you step over him, you dot the I, and you step over him. Okay? Arms pumping. We always finish all our drills with a 5-yard sprint. Every drill we do, you'll finish with a 5-yard sprint. The over the bags is just over the bags, over the dummies, more of a defensive drill. Line touch is your basketball jingle jangles, 10 yards plant, 10 yards plant, so on and so forth. And they can change them up, grass drills, up downs, so on and so forth. Now here's what we do. That whistle blows, we say to the kids, circuit. They don't ask questions, they don't ask what drills we're doing. We get to the circuits, I can rotate the coaches, or the coaches can stay at the station depending on what they wanted to do that day. But the kids know these drills. And we will do those drills right. I mean, we spend a lot of time, as most colleges do, teaching these drills. Yes?
Do you time those also?
Those are timed. Now, the time will deviate. When we get into fall practice, these drills go 1:15 seconds per station. 1:15. Now you think, Jesus, that's not very much time. All right, here's what you do. If I've got a group of 9, say I got 9 defensive backs, that's a pretty big group, 1:15. I'm a little worried they're not getting enough. You can have 2 lines, you can have 3 lines, you can have 1 line of 5, 1 line of 4, whatever you want. So that's 2 groups going pretty quick. You put 1:15 in agilities in one station, start adding that around. It's a lot of running. Okay? Just you try that now. If the smaller the group, the less the lines. You got 5 quarterbacks. If you got them, we usually put them with the tight ends. So say we've got 4 quarterbacks and 4 tight ends, 8, and boy, they're really working their butts off. We might go lines of 2. So you can do what you want. As we get better, this thing moves now, guys. When we blow that whistle and we say circuit, those coaches go to their area, the bags, the ropes, everything's set up. And men, if you don't have managers, our coaches will have them set up. They know where they're going. We usually do this at the beginning of practice because we still want a condition at the end. Again, we're in good condition. We're in good condition. So we want to do the circuit usually at the beginning of practice for agility drills. Once we do these drills, then when the coaches go to their individual workout in a minute, you'll see how we do that. They don't have to do agility drills. Every coach is required daily to do 5 minutes of agilities.
Back to your 160, 40, 30, 20. You do those before practice?
No. Well, now that's a good, okay, here's what we do. In preseason, we do them after practice. As the season progresses, we'll do them at the start of practice. That's a good question. Yeah, I'll tell you what I like about that. The conditioning drill, the hundreds, which is just cardiovascular stuff, we'll start them after practice usually. And then as you read the boredom setting in with kids, hey, we'll say, hey, we're going to do them right after flex, which is our stretch. Then we'll go and get our hundreds out of the way. Now, you get done with flex, they go to those hundreds, they go, oh, Christ, I got to run. Then they get them done, and you can believe what practice is like. They're done with conditioning. Kids just save themselves a little bit for that conditioning when they know it's coming. We've changed it up. And that's a great question because we found boredom sets in with just running hundreds all the time. Do them before practice, get them done. They're done with conditioning. That whole morale and attitude changes. You've got to move things around. I don't think you can be the same with your conditioning portion if things like that are dealing with the mass. Same with the circuit. That's why we've got these extra exercises on the periphery because we want to change those up too. But gang, these 11 exercises, 10 exercises If you came to see our winter conditioning today, you would have seen all of our positions today through winter conditioning do these, some kind of a 6-station work plus the other stuff we do. You would have seen these drills right here. And once we start in spring ball, they know them. Once they go home for the summer, our summer manual says on Tuesday, June the 6th, you have 3 sets of seat rolls, 3 sets of ropes, 3 sets of this. We probably won't, our strength coach would not include ropes because they all don't have them, so he'd go to the hat dance and stuff like that. So when they come to camp, we don't expect to have to reteach that. Okay? We'll rotate that. Now, here's the other thing we do. Sometimes the coaches I want the coaches to evaluate the other guys' positions. So when we do the circuit, let's say I'll take the hat dance, station 3. I'll stay there, the kids will rotate around it. Other times the coaches want to be with their positions because it's early in the season. They're trying to see who can move, who's got agility. They'll rotate with them. We always rotate clockwise. Like I tell the guys, it doesn't matter where you start. You know, I tell them, hey, you're here, and we go, just rotate clockwise. Never changes. We never have to worry about deviating and say, where do we line up? It's always the same. Okay?
So when you run your stations, you run them by position?
By position. Oh, yes. Always. We run conditioning and any kind of running like this is always by position. Those hundreds, always with the linemen, linebackers, tight ends, D-line, defensive backs, receivers, quarterbacks. Always. When we do this, we want the competition created among the group. So the D-line, they'll always be, now there might be a couple odd numbers in there, you know, if you have extra linebackers or something you throw in there. But the majority, yeah, we don't want to split them up. Okay, now here's how we practice. As you know, in college, we're allowed 20 hours a week during the traditional season. Can you see that okay? Put it right there. Okay? This will come up to close to 16 hours, a little bit over and under, depending on what we're doing. And what you don't see in here is weight training and meetings. And we want to save game day is a 3-hour deal in college. We have meetings every day by position, depending on what we're trying to get through. And again, your practices can deviate a little bit. But here's what we do on a Monday. And I'll just take you through it real quick. We have our film session of the game. Okay? We take 1 hour on that. Now, the coaches spend about 4 hours breaking down, as you know, in extra time. We go 1 hour in game day. 3:30, we have a team meeting. That's awards. Player of the week, Strikers Club, all that stuff. That's when we give out our awards, Conference Player of the Week. At 4:10, we go to flex. That's stretch. Now, before we flex, we will run before we flex. Now, let me tell you how we do this. We line the kids up on the sideline going across the field. Okay, we're not going downfield, we're going across. I'm a linebacker. All the linebackers are behind me. I'm on this sideline. We do 400 yards of running before we flex. The idea from our trainers to get the muscles stretched, to get them flexed, to get some sweat going before you start stretching. They think you get a better stretch. So what we will do is this. I line up on this sideline. I will high stride across. Good arm lift, just striding across. And back. That's 100 yards. Offensive linemen are doing it. Quarterbacks, tight ends, defensive backs, they're still in their positions. After we do that, we will karaoke. We will karaoke across 53 yards across the field. This way, and then we'll come back this way. That's 200 yards. Okay? We're getting the hips loose. Then we'll come back and we do bounding. Visualize the line across the field here. Bounding is when I pick my leg up and come over, try to get 1 yard each side of this line as I'm going downfield. That's 300 yards. And the last one is arm pump, which you saw that arm pump is nothing more than between the sideline and the hash. We want good, quick, high step action with arm pump. We're trying to get this. Now we're trying to loosen up the top. So what our trainers have told us is that we've worked on the quads, the ham, and the upper body to get them loose. They got a little sweat going. It is only warm-ups. There's no time on this. And then we go to flex, which is stretch. Okay? This period, this whole period, the running and the flex is 15 minutes. That's what.
Coaches, are they doing this on their own?
No. Coaches are right there. Yeah. That whistle blows. They're on the sideline. Whistle blows. They bring it across. There's no talking. They just know what to do. Then we go right to flex. We want the coaches involved, all our trainers involved out there with us during this time, and they'll stretch them for us. Okay? So here's what we try to get a little bit of running before practice, and we call it warm-ups to them. See, there's 600 yards of running they just did. Okay? Then you throw a circuit in there. You're an individual. And then you've got conditioning. There's some good conditioning in there. And like I say, gang, we're in damn good shape. Our guys can run. Now, Tuesday and Wednesday, we start at 2:15 with a special teams meeting. I know that's tough at the high school level, some of that. But all we're trying to say there, if you can't do it at 2:15, we might even do it before practice, 5 minutes before we blow the whistle to do the warm-up exercises. We'll blow them up and say, okay, guys, hey, today we've got to do close punt. We line them up. We show them real quick to get their minds thinking special teams. At 2:30 is position meeting. Okay? Kickers flex. I don't want those kickers in any meetings. Get your ass outside and start stretching. You all know Zendejas, the guy for the Rams. We had his brother. We had him. We had his brother, and his brother Marty. The first field goal he kicked was a 48-yarder, and he's all excited. No, everybody's saying, "Hey, great! You're like Tony. You're good." Yeah, I kicked touchdown, coach. I kicked touchdown. I said, "No, son, you didn't kick it. You kicked a field goal." I'm trying to explain to this guy. That's when I knew right then and there. Don't talk to them. Just let them do their thing. So while we're in meetings, they're out there stretching. And you can imagine what else they do. At 3:27, we put odd numbers up there because we think they might stick in the head. Now, this is posted. This practice plan is posted. We go to flex. Now, when you see flex, that means they'll line up for those warm-up drills, those running warm-up drills at 3:27. You see? Instead of going 3:30 and only getting a 10-minute stretch, those drills will take us about 3.5 minutes to get through those running drills. Okay? At 3:40, now we're flexed, we've run, and we've stretched. At 3:40, we go to special teams. Whatever we're doing, if it's punt return, kickoff return, and that for us is a 15-minute period daily. Now you say, well, what do the other guys do? It depends on which coaches are not involved in certain, like for example, offensive linemen on a punt day, a punt return day. The offensive lineman will go down in their area, and we will do some special drills for them. That'll be a teaching period for us. We're working pulling, trapping, pass pro. That 15 minutes will be a real nice teaching period. Slow it down. Let's talk to them. Let's get to know them. Let's talk about how important it is to come out of that stance. Individual. That starts at 3:55. Now that's a 20-minute period that you are with your position and you are doing your individual drills. Now, if we didn't do any kind of circuit training before we started that individual, each coach during that time has 5 minutes of agilities they have to do. You know the quick six? Those drills there, plus like a defensive back would work on his 45 curls and his down the line drills, 5 minutes. That whistle blows. Quarterbacks and everybody, we want 5 minutes of agilities. Position agilities. Then they've got 15 minutes of individual work. Combo is any kind of a situation and when we team up with a group. For an example, that is the period I was telling you we spend 6 minutes. We'll break it up. There's a 10-minute period there. The tight ends and backs and quarterbacks will go. Tight ends will work on the release with a drag route or an out route. The fullbacks will go and work on their swing. That'll be a 6-minute period during this 10-minute combo. It says a little bit longer here, but it's a 10-minute combo period. The next 4 minutes might be devoted to the back taking handoffs from the quarterback or faking, and the tight end working on a down block. That is a 10-minute period. Now, once we get to 4:25, that's when we go to Thunder. Thunder is team run, and that is a 20-minute period. That is when the offense comes together for run game. That's when the defense comes together for their run game. What's that say? That's 4:45. Here's Water, so you're looking at 4:25 for Thunder. 4:15 is combo. That's a 10-minute period. 4:25 is Thunder. Now here's a method to our madness. Up until 4:45, which is a 5-minute water break, whatever the hell you want to call it, that's all dedicated to run, except for the one period when maybe the backs are catching the ball with the quarterbacks. But everything else is dedicated to the run. Okay? We try to break it up. So if the offensive and defensive line wanted to go through a deuce drill, which is a high reach drill, trap drill, they could get together during this 10-minute combo period and work against each other. Okay? That's what that period's for. So when we meet in the morning, the defensive line guy says, I got to start working on that high reach, that high drive block you're doing. Let's hook up during combo. It's all run. And we have a water break, and then from the water break on down, it's pass. Now at 4:50, we go to PAP, P-A-P, play, action, pass. 10-minute period. 10-minute period on play, action, pass. Every day. We're going to be able to play action, pass in that one back. You got to. Now, the defense will have their choice at that time to come down. And they will defend it as a skeleton. It's not a scrimmage, but they'll defend it as a skeleton. But if they need to see it, if we're playing a one-back team, which in our conference there's a lot, they'll work with us on the PAP period. If the defense is playing an option team, that's a 10-minute period exclusively for this particular option, or goal line, or whatever they think is important for them. 5 o'clock is Skelly. That's broken down in all kinds of combinations, but past Skelly is a 25-minute period for us. 25-minute period. Now, what we like to do with our offensive linemen, for those of you who are, we like to team pass every day. So we'll go, in a 25-minute period, we would go a 15-10. That means the offensive line would go work against the defensive line individually for 15 minutes, and then 10 minutes they're coming together as a total offense, and we'll work against the scout defense on pass pro. We'll bring them all. We'll have our full offense breaking the huddle and working pass pro. Okay? If it's a 15-10. If it's a 10-15, it's just the opposite. 10 minutes against the defensive line, 15 minutes team pass. Man, if you're going to throw the football, you have to get bodies around that quarterback. You can't just take a good quarterback and have him throw against air all day and say, that doesn't do it. You got to bring the heat. Now, nobody touches him. We do that Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We never, ever go off the field Tuesdays and Wednesdays without doing some kind of team pass. Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Might be 10 minutes, might be 15. But we're going to do team pass. Okay? So if you're a wing T team, you know, that might be a 10-minute period of just pure play action for you, or you might just stress, hey, we got to work on the drop back out of the wing, so today we're going to work the 2 and the 4 route, or the 7 and the 6 route. From Skelly, we go to goal line. That goal line is a 10-minute period. Sometimes we'll cut Skelly off 5 minutes and get a little bit more period, but goal line can be any kind of combination for us. And after goal line, as you can see, is the 10-minute conditioning period, and then at 5:45 we're in. Practice itself is 2 hours and 15 minutes. Total, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, our big days with the combination of meetings, is 3:30. Okay? We lift weights twice a week. That's with our strength. We're fortunate enough at our place to have a strength coach, and they can go in between classes so the coaches don't have to be present. Thursday. This is a day that we go in shells. We have shoulder pads, helmet, sweats on, or shorts, depending on what time of the year it is. And there's the breakdown of that. I won't bore you with doing everything there, but that's a review day, a kicking day. There's no live contact except for our offensive and defensive linemen working on high drive blocks, stuff like that, pass pro, staying high. That is an hour and 40-minute practice. Usually, as we get into that thing, once we get everything put in, that will be about an hour and 25-minute practice. And that's usually about the 3rd or 4th week. But all I'm trying to say, this is the way we practice, all I'm trying to tell you is this is on the board for the kids. They see it. There's no secrets. They know that they're going to come out to practice, and we're going to practice an hour and 40 minutes on this particular Thursday. And see, to me, that's so important for them to understand. Coach, how come that team only practices 90 minutes? Or we're not that team. Here's why we've got to do it. So they know. Okay, so they have a good feeling about what you're trying to do. You're not just making it up to punish them. Okay? Yes? Oh, yeah, sure. Can you see it okay?
Coach, do you only work your special teams on Thursday?
No, they're all, you got kicking periods all during the week there. Did you not have it on Tuesdays? Special teams, yeah, 3:40. See, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Yeah, you? Oh, yeah.
Okay, it just broke it down on Thursday.
It's just broken down Thursday, more complete. Now, I'll tell you what we've been doing. This is something you might want to look at. You know, when we go to flex, when our kids are stretching, and let's say you've got, you know, a year ago, 92, we blocked 13 kicks. We take the good kids, the good defensive backs out of flex, and we'll work on their blocking technique. Now, it'll be a low-key period, but we'll have the pad out there for them to stretch out and fall on and stuff. Yeah, right during flex. We take the quarterbacks and centers during flex. They never go through flex. Quarterbacks and centers over there are exchanging during flex period. It's a 10-minute period. And it's not a screw-off period. If we've got 4 centers, 4 quarterbacks behind, 1 quarterback calling signals. Now, what we do with our quarterbacks, remember I said practice with it? Don't just take snaps. We're going to work on our fire pass then. Get the snap, and let's work on the fire pass action. Yeah, it's only half speed. The snap isn't, but that action is. If we're working on three-step drop, let's get that quarterback to get that three-step drop. Practice with a purpose. We do that. Guys, this year we had 4 different kids snap for us because of injuries. Some were part-time guards and so on and so forth. If you have any center experience in our squad, you're going to snap during that flex period. So you might see 7 or 8 guys over there snapping the ball, and only 3.5 of them are centers. But I believe in that much. I think that quarterback-center exchange, I mean, as you well know, that can cost you a football game late in the season if you don't emphasize it. But during flex, that's a special time to take some of your guys and do some special things. Yeah, Coach? Forfeit, oh, I'm sorry. Kickoff and screens.
There's no conditioning on Thursday?
Thursday, there's no condition. Well, we'll run, you've got 100s, you've got 40, you got 100s, 60s, 40s, and we'll pop some 20 get-offs there. Depends on how far we are. And as we get into it, we won't condition them, but as we do it in the first year, we will. We have to.
You maintain your individual time the whole year. In other words, I've heard it argued that at the end of the year you don't need as much individual time as far as time.
You know, I would say probably 90% of the time, yes, we do. But we'll take the individual time then, for an example, and we've got this luxury in college, and our offensive lineman during individual will take the scout team defensive lineman down with them, and they'll work their technique there. We might cut it down. Well, when daylight saving times come, this practice, everything comes back down to a normal time. If you're at 2:20 at one practice, that will cut it down to 2 hours and 5 minutes, so we'll lose some individual time there. But I don't want to lose individual time. I think what happens to us, you know, I've seen it happen to us. We get real good in offense. We feel pretty good. We got to get everybody together and work on this stuff. And you forget about, you know, when you're running that 46, you got to high drive and take the proper steps. You forget about that fullback taking the lead step, the crossover. And I think individuals that important. You cut it down, but I still think you got to emphasize it with the kids. You know, again, you know, in our offensive scheme, what I like about our one-back offense is the running game is very, in one back you only do so many plays. Well, we've got our 5. But in the passing game, what I like about it is you have your base routes, but then as you get to the technical parts of it, it only deals with 2 people, the quarterback and that particular receiver. 2 guys. You know, because your pass pro stays the same. I mean, you're blocking the front. Your outside guys, if you're not going to them, have to run the same route. And that's what I like about the one. I was a very conservative coach. Probably still am. We ran that wing tee. I mean, I'm very conservative. Hell, we throw the ball now with the best of them. With the best of them. But that's what I like about the one back. I still feel strongly that you have to win a championship, you have to be able to run the football. Now, I think the one back gives you that, and that's what I want to get into. God, dog. Let me just show you what, I'm going to get a little bit of philosophy for you, if you don't mind. And then fire questions, and we'll run out of time. Here's what I think about the one back running game. Now, remember, I'm not talking goal line short yards. Goal line short yards, we're in wing T. You don't need to raise your... We might be in a too tight one back and smash it at you a couple times for play action. We like the wing T. But here's what I like about the one back. If you're going to play 6 people inside, I don't care how you line them up, we usually see something like this. A 3 technique, a 6, some kind of a Mike backer offset, 6 people inside. I know now you've only got 5 guys to defend whatever you're trying to do, okay? 5 guys. Now, you're usually going to be in some kind of a set like this. You may roll it. You may try to roll it over here to your strong side. And you'll have a walked-off backer depending on where you think, you think we're going to throw it. That'd be a cover 3 look there. But the thing I like about the one back, if we see 6 inside, we're throwing. We're throwing. You know it and we know it. There's no secrets there. We're going to throw the football. But this 6-man inside is going to limit you what you can do. You can play man free and some kind of a roll it, and that's all you can do. I mean, there might be a special thing you do when you're dropping people off. But these 6 guys in here, we know it only gives you 5 guys to defend. If you're playing zone coverage, we know it's only a 4-man rush, and we're going to get... What the hell did I do here? Oh yeah, we're going to get all of our people out. So when we get in the one back, what we're looking for is this. We're looking for our running lanes. We think we spread you out enough to reach support. If you don't have, if this guy's not here, you can bet your bottom dollar our first run play is going to be our zone play to the outside. If you have this guy locked inside to take away, remember that 2 route I was telling you and the inside routes we do, you can bet that with this guy in this 2 technique, we're going to come up through here, we're going to block down on him and take it outside. That's our number one, that stretch play is our number 1 play. If we want to try to run against that 6, that's what we try to do. But we know when you've got 6 inside that you are limited to what you can do coverage-wise. Now, the 1 back, the coverage we're seeing the most right now against us is cover 4. It's a 4 deep coverage. It's Dallas Cowboys. That's what it is. These guys have quarters all the way through it. And they're not bailing out. It's a tight. I mean, those corners are almost playing a man coverage. Okay? You've got to come out on the X receiver and put somebody on him, whether it's a backer, strong safety, it doesn't matter. Okay? Now, we've used up 5 of your guys. You're going to have some kind of a backer inside. Maybe he's a middle backer, maybe he's offset, but let's just call him a Mike. We've used up right now, what, 6 of your guys. You've got 5 guys left. You want another linebacker, and you put him here, or if you want to play a base front with him as a drop end, kind of a 6-1 look, with that guy there and this guy drop in, you can see what we're going to try to do is run and force his free safety to be a football player. But this is the coverage we're seeing the most now, and that's why I prefaced my comments earlier about saying we want to read high-low because we think we can beat these guys underneath. We think we can really put you in a bind here with the routes that we run. I'm sorry. We think we can put those linebackers in a big bind with the routes that we run. And that's where I think the run game and the 1 back, if you work it and believe in it now. See, the problem I see in the 1 back, it's such a fun offense to throw out of. I mean, it really is. It's a lot of, you get in there and you start saying, God, we can do this, and we can do that, and you can, but you forget that run game. So that's why I said to you, we have our 5 run plays, and we're going to execute them. You know, in the 1 back, here's the run plays. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to have the zone play, okay? Now that's this one, when you can cut it back either way. You're going to have a stretch. That's this one when you bounce it. Some people call it the bounce, okay? You're going to have possibly the counter tray, which we don't run. We used to. The counter tray is the Washington Redskin pulling both guard and tackle and coming back. You're going to have a draw play, some kind of a draw play, a trap draw, whatever you want. And then you're going to have some kind of a special play, some kind of a trap play, inside trap. You might even run a little speed option. But that's all you can do in the 1 back. So our philosophy is this. We're going to take, we don't run the counter tray, we're going to take the 5 plays we run, and that's 2 draws and a little bit of a trap, and we're going to be able to execute those. Much like that quick 6 circuit, we're going to be able to execute those plays. We will take our practice plan during that combo period, in that 10-minute period, and we'll run an inside drill, or we'll run a deuce drill. Deuce drill means there's 2 groups working. Here's what it is. We'll take a quick side, and then we'll take a strong side. Our defense will line up, whatever they want, a 3 and a 5, and a Mike. We'll have a quarterback and a backer. Over here, let's go a 3 and a 6 with some kind of a stack look. Deuce drill is this. This group goes first. We're going to work on our stretch play. Defense is, it's 1s against 1s. Some people call it half line. We don't call it half line because we want them to know it's individual work. We'll come to this side and run the same play. And all they're doing is just working one-on-one, but it's a deuce period during that combo in which deuce means 2 groups working. Quick side, strong side. Then we reverse it. We do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We probably do this drill for our front more than any other drill we have. Okay? This deuce drill. We'll reverse the sides with the tight end on the quick side going over, and we'll still do it. Now, while they're doing the deuce drill, you'll have the receivers and the defensive backs going one-on-one. You'll have the quarterbacks and a fullback, the ones not being used here, right behind them, and they'll be working on the handoff drills. The quarterback will be handing off to a fullback behind them without any line, doing the same exact thing. Okay? So during that combo period, that's a very, very important period for us when we hook up with everybody. This is probably the most important drill. Now from here, when we go into Thunder, if we want to work against our defense, we will take 10 minutes out of Thunder and do an inside period. And an inside period is exactly what it sounds like. We'll go against our defense. They'll line up in their 40. If they're playing something different. There's no secondary involved, and we don't stretch it too much. We will run the ball in here. We'll run our trap, the little trap we have. We'll run our zone, a little bit of an inside stretch against that in a draw play. And that's a 10-minute period, goods against goods. Now, the goods against good could be, you might have your number 1 tackle, your number 1 guard, your number 2 center in there because you want to get him some work, your number 2 strong side tackle. That doesn't matter. You can alternate him. It doesn't have to be the ones against one. I say goods against good because you might be trying to find out if this guy can play. And if he can play, let's get him in here and get him some action. Inside period is 10 minutes, and it's a get after him period. Now, we will hit every Tuesday and Thursday. Doesn't matter when in the season. We will hit. And this is full speed, and the deuce drill is full speed. There's no second speed or pulling off because the guys are injured and that stuff. Now that's our philosophy, and that contradicts a lot of my counterparts in this business because as the season goes on, they're concerned about injuries, they're concerned about this and that, and we are too. If we feel we have a guy that's banged up a little bit, we're not going to throw him in there. But, man, football, it's like tying your shoe. You've got to be able to tie without looking at it. Well, running a play is like that. You've got to be able to run. If you've got guys banged up, then get your 2s in there against your 1 defense and teach them. Let them have the time. I think the only way to learn is with true contact. I don't think you learn against the bags. I hate the bags. I hate 2 days in shorts, and I don't like Thursday practices. That gives me Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Mondays aren't real good except for the running. But I think you got to hit. No. Monday we're not in full pads. That's what I say. Monday's running is conditioning. But Tuesday and Thursday. Now when we get together, Tuesday and Wednesdays are our big days. When we get together on Thursdays, though, we'll have sweats on our shoulder pads. We will line up against our defense in some kind of a period, and we will run stretch stuff and pass pro in that, and that will be a full speed deal with no tackling at the backs. Okay? But I mean, if you always let up on your back, I'm talking about during the season now. You're done with 2 days. If you're not tackling your back, and I know there's times when you can and can't. I'm not saying we do it, consistently to pound the guy. How's he going to learn to accept the blow? I mean, this guy's in the 1 back. There's only 1 guy's going to get the football. Now, he's got to learn to take a hit. And you can't do tackling drills every day, for Christ's sakes. That can hurt him. So we think this is the best way to go for us. So as we break up those combo periods and those thunder periods, boy, we want to hook up as much as we can with our defensive front. Any questions on practice I can answer? Yes?
Why don't you run the counter train?
I'll tell you what the question is, why don't we run the counter train? We really liked it. Ran the hell out of it. Here's what bothers me. Anytime you run the counter tray, you have to have a 3rd man, we felt, to cut off. You run it this way, you got the tight end. When you come back this way, you got to bring somebody in motion to do, all that fancy stuff. We aren't a big motion team. It gave it away, and we ran the play action off it very good, but I just didn't like being forced to bring my flex man down here tighter to get this guy. I didn't like it. Now what we're doing now, and I think the counter tray is a vicious play, but what we're doing now, again, this is what we're seeing most of the time, is we're going to slam this guy, bring him up on backer, block it back, and bring him this way and run it. Just a long trap. And we can run that off the draw series. Yeah, that counter tray, and we see it, and we've had good success blowing it up to that weak side because, you got that short corner when this guy comes down here, and God, I didn't like that traffic jam there. Now, we didn't run it when you could bounce it automatically. We're one of those teams that you don't bounce until we tell you to bounce, so we restricted them a little bit. But we got rid of that in 92. Was the last year we ran the counter tray. Our plays are zone stretch, this quick trap, a draw play, and then our favorite trap is the G scheme, which we love to get in 2 tights. But anyway, when we see the bubble, we'll run this G scheme, almost a sprint draw. Now when you get in 2 tights, which we like, that's a Bama set for us, we think you're going to get a bubble one side or the other. If you play this end on a 7 technique, in other words inside, then we run the 47, which is the play outside. If you're head up or outside, we'll run the inside play. That's what we'll try to dictate to you. If you line up across, everybody across, man down, like this, if we couldn't run it this side, we're going to throw it. We're balanced with our receivers, or we've got a trips formation. We like that 2 tight set a lot for play action pass. And remember I told you about that 10-minute PAP, PAP period, play action pass period? Every day. 10 minutes. 10 minutes every day. The kids get sick of it. Because, you know, you get pretty proficient at that play action and so on and so forth. And PAP guys, let's go 10 minutes every day. Any other questions I can answer for you? Yeah, fire.
You got this one-back offense that you're all fired up about. What is the defense that you don't like to see against that one-back offense?
Well,
What are teams doing against you in that one?
well, like I told you, they're playing that cover 4 look. They're playing that Dallas. When they blitz us, we burned them pretty good. I mean, we've been very good with our pass pro, and we threw for 3,500 yards this year. I mean, we're a good passing team. The teams that have done the best against us are teams that play a nice zone coverage, a combination zone coverage, and change it up. I mean, those are the teams that you know, if you're going to have troubles, I think that zone is tough. Yeah. There's not a front, the toughest front. I couldn't tell you if there's one that we're more scared. I think the multiple defenses, you know, because the key for our success is, like anybody, but it's that quarterback, because we audible about 70% of the time in our one-back scheme. That's what we're seeing the most of. Don't see much cover 2 because we've been burning them up the seam. You know, you get cover 2 and you split those safeties. We're taking that X and running them right up. Let me. Huddle, real big on it. And I'll tell you something. We're good at. We're real good at. See, for an example, our play call, everything's a number for us. 452. That's that 4 formation, that 52. That's how we call them. So we're not in wing right, red, X post. It's all numbers. So we've really been fortunate in the delay games. We do like no huddle an awful lot. And in our no huddle scheme, we will change that formation up. Maybe not every time, but every other time. We'll go too tight. We'll go too tight wing. We'll go the spread formation. We'll go the trips. If you're going no huddle, you got to move it around, I think. And we've been blessed because this guy is real intelligent for us. Yes.
About conditioning, how does that affect your injury situation? You know, being a factor in no huddle, you have to be conditioned, obviously. You do pretty well throughout the season.
Well, you know, here's what we do. When we go into the inside period, you know that period when the offensive front against defense front, we'll go no huddle right there against our defense. The kids get used to hearing it, and I'll tell you what it did for us, and we did it by accident. The defense got used to it. You've seen those defense. I'll tell you, we go no huddle against some teams, and they know we do it, and they just aren't prepared. Our defense from 2-a-day practice is prepared because they see us doing it. We don't do it all the time, but they see us doing it, so they're not in that panic mode. So, yeah. Well, and see, we can change the call defensively because defensive coordinators are scared no huddle. You know, to have too many calls, and it's really helped our defense as much as the offense. But we like that no huddle an awful lot. Yeah, we don't do it the whole game. We do it in selected areas. Selected times. Yeah, we don't start. No, we want to pick the time. Any other questions I can answer? Yeah. Yeah, I call. Well, Christ, you got the guy upstairs telling you what it looks like. It's a community thing. Gang, thanks a million. Appreciate it. And if you get a chance to come up and see us spring, come on up. Thank you.